Hey everyone, it's Michael. I hope you're doing well today, and I have a review here for Don Pendleton's The Executioner, number 265, Freedom Force. Now, this is a pulp book. This is, I think, one that came out in 2000, but these books started all the way in back like the 60s or the 70s. I have found myself getting more and more into pulp stuff, whether it be action, fantasy, whatever. I don't read a ton of it. I'm still on my manga and comics kick, but I still love this kind of thing because it gets to the point. There's no bloat to this stuff. For example, this is a 218-page book, and they used to come out monthly, just so you know. You would get 12 books a year in these series. You could read them in any order you wanted to. You could take a break and come back. They're very episodic, like a TV show. Think of like Miami Vice or something. And The Executioner, in case anybody doesn't know, because I've never read these before, I've never talked about them on the channel except for a couple of mentions here and there. This is basically the original Punisher. The Punisher is actually a ripoff of this. And I love the Punisher. I've never read a ton of the Punisher, but I've read enough to see where they basically stole this character and put a cool skull on his chest. This was really solid for what it was. It's not something I'd recommend anybody new to pulp heavily, but it's a good jumping on place. It had a lot of action, a lot of killing, a lot of fights. The only thing I've really read close to this in a regular novel format was the Jonathan Mayberry series called Joe Ledger, which Joe Ledger I have a hit or miss love-hate relationship with. Sometimes it's cool, sometimes it sucks ass. It's just like that with those. But I've always wanted to try these, and I came across like 4 or 5 of these books at a Goodwill recently, the best Goodwill around. And I haven't seen any more there since, but I went ahead and grabbed at the 4 or 5 or 6 I saw that day. And this is the first one I ever read, Freedom Force, because the cover was so awesome. In case you haven't looked at the video, you should. This cover's great. And it's red because it takes place in Hawaii this time, and apparently that's not super common with these books, I guess. This is essentially an action-adventure story about a guy who's like, again, basically the Punisher. His name is Mac Bolan, and he had his whole family murdered in the first book back in the day. A lot of intricacies to that. I don't remember all the details. I can't tell you that. But basically, he decides to go after the mob and mafia and crime families and stuff. And he just goes all out with his pistols and everything. And he's basically an action figure. That's what he is. And I love it. It's like the Thomas Jane Punisher. If you love that, you'll love this. I really believe that. So take out the time to check it out. You can get these books for like $1 a piece. And eventually, I think they just stopped the series in 2020, by the way. They got to the point where they weren't doing print runs anymore. They kind of just stopped and started doing digital only with a very limited print run. So you can't really get like a complete set, but you can buy these books for like $1 a piece. You can buy like 50 of them in a big book lot on eBay, which is what I may do in the future, depending on what I kind of get into. But you can get them all digitally, from what I understand. For a while there, Harley Quinn Publishing, who does all like the romance, murder mystery, Christmas, and love stories, all those little books that come out monthly, they put out like 6 a month. And I've actually tried out those now, and they were really solid. I enjoyed those. They were a little bit more romancy than what I wanted, but still, Harley Quinn used to put these out. And I don't know if they were the last publisher of them, but apparently they did a little bit of the Mac Bolan releases for a while there. They maintained these are 200-page books. They were dirt cheap. I think this one here from 2000 was like $5 when it came out. And even if it was coming out now, it'd be like 7 at Barnes & Noble and like 6 at Walmart, the way the Harley Quinn books are. So I wish we brought back pulp like this. I want more stuff like this as a man. This cover's badass. It immediately got me into the book. To get to the actual story finally, essentially, Mac Bolan is going to Hawaii to stop a Russian terrorist who's teaming up with somebody, we don't know who yet at the beginning, out there in Hawaii, who happens to have their hands on a couple of nukes. And when Mac Bolan, the executioner, is going out there, he's actually taking a scientist named Silert, who is the only person who can disarm these nukes, and they're kind of on a manhunt for this. At one point, they team up with a chick who's a detective named Susan Ogatu, and I gotta tell you, I was surprised, and I think this is a great point, as generic as this book might feel to me and to many other people out there, and I'm assuming all the books would feel like this, very much like Harley Quinn would probably feel to most romance readers, and even to us horror fans, if you pick up a Harley Quinn mystery or a thriller from them, it's kind of got more of the romancy thing, but the horror thriller part's kind of generic, you know? And I'm okay with that as long as it's good, as long as it's satisfying. And this is, right? I was impressed with that. I was impressed with how these characters here, all of them, whether it be Mac, the executioner, whether it be the bad guys, the Russian bad guy especially, I really like him in his prologue to the book. Whether it be Susan Ogatu, the detective from Hawaii, whether it be Silert, the scientist, who's probably the weakest of all these characters. This book, and whoever ghost wrote the book, because I don't see their name on here, I think it might be on the inside, but I'm not sure if that's it, so I don't want to use that person's name. It looks like it's kind of ghost written, but most of the writers did that back in the day. It's not Don Pendleton who wrote it. I think he had died, before this came out. I could be wrong, but anyway, he's the creator of the series, and they just used his name as part of the title. Anyway, this book is a great example, and this series, this IP, is a great example of how modern-day books do not have the excuse to be as bloated as they are. Most horror stories don't need to be over 300 pages, much less over 200 pages. Most fantasy books don't need more than 300 pages. They just bloat out for supposed world building, which really doesn't matter most of the time. Most of it's just junk the writer wanted to put in the book, and it wastes your time as the audience unless you're really into it. If you're not really into it, then it's wasting your time, and it's a big issue that I've complained about in numerous videos about how bloated books have gotten. This is the kind of book I want more of. Not just because it's action, dumb fun, but because it has a sense of humor, because the characters, and I don't think any of these characters, I don't think Silert, I don't think Susan, or any of them, are in any other books except for this one because of how episodic the series is. The fact that in 200 pages, we developed all of these people as well as we did, including our main hero, who has a whole backlog, 264 books before this one, to really get to know him as the audience. The fact that it developed everybody so well in 220 pages is amazing to me. The fact that it did that so consistently and so quickly is amazing to me. And the fact that it was as fun as it was in Hawaii, driving fast cars, trying to find these nukes out in the wild, not really having any kind of leads or anything, that stuff was really, really fun. All the cop stuff with the detective was really fun. She, as a character, Susan Ogatu, has a really good sense of humor. Like, one of her ways to distract people that she uses one time in the book, it's not exploitation, she flashes somebody and then kicks the shit out of them. I love her. She's really fun. And again, there's a little bit of a sense of humor here that really works. It's amazing to me to see things like John Wick blow up and be such a big deal nowadays, but Mac Bolan, the executioner, the OG Punisher, has never had a movie or a TV show or anything. They've tried to do it a couple of times, it didn't work out. This should have been a movie and a franchise by now. It should have been. This book is kind of regarded, from what I can tell online, as kind of a weaker, more generic book in the franchise, kind of forgettable. And I can see that. You know, it took me a while to get through it because I would just jump off and go do other things or watch TV or whatever. But every time I'd come back, I'd be right there engaged in the story. Despite it not being the best action book I've ever read, I think Joe Ledger does a lot better than this. Most of the time when it's good, it's great. This is kind of forgettable. I'm not going to hold on to this book in my collection, but I'm glad I read it. It was a great place to start. But it was fun. It was really fun with the action and the humor and stuff. There is so much shooting in here. And the way it's described, it's not generic in the sense of oh, and then he shot the guy in the shoulder and the man dropped. It's not like that. It's like, I put a bullet through his head and he thought his last thought all over the wall. It's written like that. It's not like noir style, but it's kind of goofy, and I love that about it. But it's well written. I'm actually surprised by how well written this was and how concise it is. It gets to the point. It's exactly what I wanted. It's exactly what books used to be. And I made a video not too long ago talking about books being too long. I think it's just called Books Are Too Long is the title. And this is a great solution to that. If you're more of a romance person, the Harley Quinn stuff is a great solution to that. If you're more a horror person, Harley Quinn is kind of a solution to that too, despite the romance portion of them, if you will. But overall, I'm going to read more Mac Bolan. I'm excited about this. I thought this was really cool for what it was. I wish it was still around. I understand why it's not. It wasn't getting any readers anymore. But still, I mean, there was like 500 books in this franchise. You could start anywhere. You can ignore the books you don't care about. You don't have to slog through some book that's going to suck. I love that idea. We need to go back to doing that. It's kind of like how we used to do episodic television. That used to work a whole lot better. Comic books used to be done like this, and it was much better. Apparently, Matt Fraction's trying to do that with Batman now. People are really excited about that. I'm excited about that. So anyway, when it comes to Don Pendleton's The Executioner, number 265, Freedom Force, really cool little Hawaii adventure. For the first time ever reading from me of a Mac Bolan book. I really enjoyed this. I had a great time with it. I kind of want to check out some of the side spin-offs, if you will. I think one of them is called like The Stony Man, and then there's like another Mac Bolan something. Yeah, I want to check out more because I had a great time with this. I thought it was super fun. It was everything everybody had told me Mac Bolan books would be. So yeah, if you see them out at a Goodwill or something, grab them out or grab them up. If you see them on eBay or something, grab them up there. Check them out, dude. I think it's worth your time, and you can get them so cheap because people don't care about these books, just like they're kind of considered disposable entertainment, like Harley Quinn was. And that's sad because of how good it is. Even though it's kind of generic, it's really entertaining. I could see somebody collecting these like how I collect Goosebumps books. You know what I mean? Or collected. I pretty much have them all now. Anyway, what do you think about this book? Have you read Freedom Force? Do you love it? Do you hate it? If you've read a lot of Executioner, if you happen to be a big Mac Bolan fan, I would love to hear down below your biggest recommendations. Let me know. I'll pick them up immediately. If you've kind of fallen out of being a fan of the books, I'd love to hear all that of why. Yeah, let me know all kinds of recommendations. If there's any modern day stories of kind of Punisher-esque, Mac Bolan Executioner-esque stories out there that I don't know about, maybe indies on Kindle or something, let me know. I'd love to support people that are still writing stuff like this because of how much I love it. So anyway, thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Check out some Executioner if you love Punisher especially. God bless you guys. Catch you later, and goodbye.